Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Life channel. In today's video we've got a nice snowy drive back home from work. I'm on a half day today, so looking forward to having the afternoon in the snow. But I thought we'd just go over a few little things to bear in mind when you're driving your car in the snow. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So snow is something we don't actually get here that often in the UK. Other European countries get a reliable amount of snow every year, whereas, to be honest, in the last couple of years in the UK, I think I can only name 1 or 2 years where we've actually had snow, and it hasn't really ever come to anything. So this year, sort of winter 2022 coming into 2023, we've had quite a bit of snow, which I absolutely love. For those of you who remember, I drove to the Arctic Circle this time last year in pursuit of snow because I absolutely love snow. So thought we'd talk about a few things to bear in mind when you're driving in the snow. Now currently, as you can see, the road is fairly clear. It's 0 degrees. Obviously got a chance that things could ice up on the road surface, but ultimately we do have a fairly grippy, if not slightly wet, road surface. So in terms of general driving, it's much like a wet day as the snow melts. Now, snow is obviously just crystallised water that falls and settles. That's why you get a lot of flooding when the snow melts, because obviously all the water has to go somewhere. So the first thing I would definitely recommend is leaving a lot of distance to the vehicle in front. I can see this Land Rover's turning off very early on, and I just slowed down and gave him plenty of time to do that. Snow, obviously, there's risk of ice, there's risk of slipperiness. If it settles on the road, that's a different story. There's very little grip in certain places, but we just want to give ourselves enough time to react if we need to. So that there was just ease off early and allow them to get out of the way. You never know, there might be someone stuck in that turning, which means he can't complete his turn. Suddenly we have to jam on the brakes, and if we're on a slippery sort of surface, then that is going to become an issue pretty quickly. Now, another thing to bear in mind is that these road signs can actually be covered up by the snow. And it looks like the road's actually shut up here. So obviously someone's come a cropper in the snow, which means I'm going to have to take a slightly convoluted way home, which isn't ideal, but there's nothing behind me, so I'm going to turn around and take a different way home. Okay then, so we have a jackknife lorry ahead, a few miles down the road, so we can get off of the main road away from that beforehand, which is ideal because I don't really fancy being stuck on a rubbish piece of road. But yeah, so jackknife lorry, obviously they've come a cropper on the bends, and that's the problem with snowy weather, is that it can really vary. The road surface and the grip can really vary from place to place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plan my diversion, just to make sure that we we don't get caught up in all of that, because the police and emergency services have obviously got to clear everything. So yeah, there's definitely a risk that road surfaces, etc., grip levels do change, and especially heavy vehicles, those are a series of tight bends ahead, are definitely a much more risk of jackknifing as trailers, etc., lose grip. So that's another thing, just sort of highlights there, is know your route and have sort of a spare route available. Fortunately, people do have accidents, so you can quite easily find yourself cut off, especially where I live in sort of the Herefordshire borders, etc. It's yeah, there's definitely a risk that things can really, you can get cut off pretty quickly, which isn't ideal. And you can see now the visibility, as we're getting a bit more snow, the visibility is starting to reduce, much like as if it were foggy. So I'd always recommend having your headlights on, so you can be seen in the snow, especially so you can be seen from the rear. There's quite high wind as well at the moment, so it definitely is pretty grim out here, but again, it shouldn't be an issue if you drive smoothly and safely. And that brings me on to how you sort of put your how you can sort of control the vehicle. Snow and all other low grip scenarios require really smooth inputs. You can see here we've got a blizzard coming across. You've got to do really smooth inputs, otherwise you can really come a cropper. You're much more likely to break traction, lose control of the vehicle if you're putting harsh inputs in. You've got snow drifts, etc. You can't rely on the surface being a constant level of grip, so when you're accelerating you need to accelerate slowly. When you're going around corners you need to slow down. You don't have the lateral grip that you would otherwise have, and that's probably why our friend in the truck ahead has jackknifed his trailers, just sort of overtaking him essentially. As you can see ahead, we've got a quad bike that's going to be going very slowly, so I'm already braking and slowing down. He's actually nearly stopped. And we're just giving ourselves much more time to deal with things. Now I'm just going to go past him and his dog. And you can see here we've got tracks in the road, so we've got snow built up in the middle of the road, and again that is a risky place to be. That is where you're going to sort of get aquaplaning. Imagine that standing water. That's what I tell people, is that as soon as you hit that, your tyres are not going to have grip anymore and you're going to lose traction. You can see here again we've got drifts coming across the road. Again, yeah, the standing snow does shake things about. Here we go. There's some more. And this is what I mean, how things can really change on your route. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take the speed off completely here, because along this sort of snow, if I put my foot down, you can see we're just spinning. Traction control's coming on. So we really do need to take that steady around here. And I'm just going to bleed my speed right off. I can't see very well. I don't know what's ahead. I'm taking it easy. It is really important before you go out in a snow journey to ensure your tyres are up for it. You need to have a good amount of tread. You need to have good snow rated tyres. I've got Michelin cross climates on this. I drove to the Arctic Circle on those and they were absolutely fantastic the whole time. So it's just bearing that in mind. This is going to be quite treacherous as we start to go uphill here. You can see that things are already starting to get a bit more treacherous than they were. And it's just, yeah, a lot more thought and concentration required than driving normally. The grip level is always changing. Just another example here, look, we've got reduced grip there. You can feel the car start to slide, and the way that we manage that is just really putting nice smooth inputs in to the car, making sure it's not going to lose traction. That's one of the reasons we're going slower here, because we're less likely to break traction. Also gives us more time to react when we need to. And yeah, you can see here why this lorry probably did jackknife. These are a series of really tight bends here. I'm not worried about being able to get up the hill, but it's just these drifts here make it pretty treacherous, and you can feel the car moving around there pretty immediately. Now this is all standing snow, so we're going to have reduced grip here. Gently onto the brakes, roll it round. You can see the road's narrowed because the snow's settling on the side. We're just going to slowly feed the power in, let the car climb, let the tyres grip. If I was to put my foot down, tyres would spin up, we'd have less grip. Just gentle inputs. And on this piece of hill here, rather than actually brake to go around the corner, I'm going to let off, let the hill do the braking, and then we're going to move around, because we want to keep those tyres rolling as much as we can. We don't want them to stop. The second they stop, the second we lose grip essentially. And you can see for people without the correct tyres or without sort of a suitably prepared vehicle, this would be very sketchy indeed, especially if you don't keep momentum. You can see here we've got two cars that have crashed on this bend. That van's certainly written off, as is that BMW, and we're just going to carefully make our way through here. You can see, well, that is very slippery there actually. You can see here there's snow all over the road. We're just going to keep going, keep the car nice and steady. Traction control is going to do its work, and we're just going to gently go up this hill. And you can see just how sketchy this is. I'm steering and nothing's really happening. We're going to keep our sort of inputs to the car minimal, and we're able to get through. Now if you had, for example, a rear wheel drive car like that BMW was, then you can see that there's clearly a risk that you'll oversteer. Front wheel drive cars tend to be more sort of not reliable but predictable in the snow. Now I'm braking here just to bleed off the speed because everything's white. I can't actually see what the hazards are. We're again slowly crawling up. You can hear the snow underneath the car. The car's sliding a bit, but nothing that's sort of too dangerous. But you can see why they've closed this road further down, because it is very, very sketchy. We've now come back onto the road that was closed and avoided sort of the main accident. But yeah, you can see how people are getting caught out here. We've now come to a downhill bit, so what I'm doing, I'm just easing off. I'm doing 30 miles an hour, and that's quite enough really. With the amount of snow we've got on the road, the fact that we've got to go for a couple of bends here, it's all, yeah, we're taking it very, very easy. And that's going to give us time to brake and calculate what's ahead. I'm looking really far down the road here, and it's going to give us plenty of time at this speed to be able to work out what's ahead. If there's a vehicle stopped in our road, we need to have time to not only have time to stop, but also time to make a plan of whether we can go around them or whether we need to stop. It's that sort of thing that you need to be thinking about really. And you can see here now they've actually closed the road again since the bit I've come on, and you can see why. This snowdrift, if I brake now, I'm just sliding. So you really do, like I said, need to keep an eye on your speed. Say thank you to the chaps there. And there we go. That was yeah, quite sketchy, wasn't it? Give him a flash, let him know that it's a bit dodgy up there, and him as well. But it's, yeah, it's all how well you manage your momentum on this sort of thing. Again, we've got snow here. I'm not going to brake, because if we brake we'll go straight off down into that fence. We just need to gently steer the car, limit the sort of inputs that you put in, and you'll stay very, very safe. Now if you're not confident in the snow, again, I wouldn't recommend driving in it, because it is risky, as you just saw there. If you come across conditions like that and you're not experienced in dealing with them, then you can really come a cropper quite easily, as you saw. So it's judging whether your journeys are that necessary. Obviously I need to get home, so I'm going to make that journey, but you may not actually need to go out. If you could just pop into the shops or something, just eat what you've got at home. If you haven't got anything, then perhaps, yeah, think again. But even here I'm not totally relaxed, because we've got snow settled on the road, and it doesn't take much, as we saw with those drifts coming across, to drastically reduce the amount of grip that you have. And I know that we've got a sharp left-hand bend coming up. I'm already going to start slowing down, so I don't have to do it closer to the corner, because if I come around the corner and there's a big snowdrift, I'm going to end up going straight, which we really don't want to happen. You can see here the other cars are taking it fairly easy as well, and that's a good clue as to sort of the weather conditions ahead, is how the other cars are driving. Something to bear in mind. This is the sort of time where people recommend that you have at least half a tank of diesel in your car and that sort of thing, because if you do get stuck or you have to take a big diversion, the last thing you want to be worrying about is whether you're actually going to make it, or where the nearest petrol station is. You just want to be able to go where you need to go and have enough fuel to get there. And even as we're coming down, well, that pickup truck just slid out of his driveway. Even as we're coming down here, I know that we've got junctions, etc. ahead. Cars might try and pull out, get stuck, and end up in the middle of the road. So we're just going to bear all of this in mind, and we're just having to speed off. Don't get pressured into driving faster than you're comfortable with driving in these sort of conditions. Because at the end of the day, that person who's tailgating you, if you speed up and crash because you felt pressured by them, they're just going to carry on driving past you, and it's not going to be their fault, it'll be your fault. So it's just, yeah, driving to the conditions that you're comfortable to do. Really, if I had non-snow rated tyres in that situation, I probably could have made it still, but it would have been a far less comfortable experience. Tyres really are be all and end all when it comes to snow grip. A two-wheel drive car with the right tyres can beat a four-wheel drive car any day of the week on snow. It really is that much of a difference. You'd be surprised how many of the cars sort of in the north of Sweden, etc., are two-wheel drive and do absolutely fine. A lot of them use studded tyres, and that makes all the difference. It's your contact patch with the road at the end of the day. So it's yeah, but now I am building up confidence. I'm happy. The road is fairly predictable ahead, so we're now set. Well, we're at 56 miles an hour. I wouldn't advise using cruise control on slippery surfaces. I'm very comfortable with this surface now, so I'm not too worried. But cruise control can catch you out. You can make the car lose grip. Cruise control will step in, and then it unsettles the car, etc. But this is a very nice straight road. But yeah, so you can see how quickly the conditions changed on that journey. It is quite surprising how quickly you can get caught out, for example, and those guys in the vans and the BMWs, etc. Yeah, clearly got caught out, which is a shame for them. Not what you want to see, people having accidents, etc. And that Ford there, you can see, is trying to stop that. That truck really didn't do us any favours there. Thank God for automatic wipers, because we had a total whiteout there. But yeah, these are all the conditions, the crazy conditions that snow sort of brings out. It's stunning scenery, isn't it? You can't go wrong with the scenery. I just absolutely love snow. Just it's quite complex to drive in, and it's not just a case of getting in the car and going. You need to have plans. You need to have ideas of how to drive in the snow. You can see here again, the snow's then, the tracks have suddenly vanished and we're back into standing snow again, and suddenly the car's a bit just sort of jittery. But the crux of it is, if you need to make the journey, drive to the conditions, drive at an appropriate speed so that you can stop in the distance that you can see to be clear. That's a big thing that we teach in the IAM, or the Institute of Advanced Motorists, is you need to be able to stop in the distance you can see to be clear. So if that is in the snow, you need to allow for the fact that you need to be able to stop, so you need to reduce your speed. That's fundamentally how it works. But yeah, what a lovely day. I love this, like I say, I see this as lovely weather. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know your guys' approach on whether you drive in the snow, whether you wait until the snow subsides, whether you wait till the chaos unfolds and it's then fixed before you drive. Yeah, let me know either way. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.